December 5th, 2025, Washington, D.C., Kennedy Center. 3 leaders, 1 stage, and the world is watching. Today isn't just about the FIFA World Cup draw. It's about a tense showdown that sums up the biggest diplomatic drama of the year. Mark Carney is stepping into the room with something Donald Trump refuses to accept: reality. Just 6 weeks ago, Trump slammed the door on all trade talks with Canada, shouting, "All trade negotiations with Canada are over." Now, Carney is about to share the stage with the Prime Minister he tried to pressure, and that's where things get really interesting. While Trump was busy ending talks with Canada over a TV commercial, yes, a TV commercial, Carney was halfway around the world shaking hands with Xi Jinping, the leader of America's biggest rival. Think about that. Trump shut Canada out, but Carney opened a door to a $17 trillion economy. Here's what happened. Trump thought he could isolate Canada, make Carney beg for a deal. Instead, Carney flew to South Korea, met with Xi for the first time in 8 years, and called it a turning point. Translation? Trump's pressure tactics aren't working. Now Carney has to stand right next to Trump, the man who just proved that. If you think Canada is playing chess while Trump plays checkers, hit that like button. This story is just getting started. Let's rewind to October 23rd, 2025. Trump is furious. Why? Ontario aired a 30-second ad criticizing Reagan-era tariffs. That's it, an ad. Trump's reaction? He took to Truth Social and declared, "All trade negotiations with Canada are over." All caps, maximum drama. But Carney didn't panic. No apologies, no begging. Instead, he flew to South Korea for the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit on October 31st. There, in a private meeting room, history happened. Carney met face-to-face with Xi Jinping. This was huge. For 8 years, no Canadian Prime Minister had met with the Chinese president. Relations had been frozen, thanks to things like the Huawei arrest in 2018, tariffs on electric vehicles, and China's bans on Canadian canola, pork, and seafood. But Trump's chaos created a chance. After 40 minutes, Carney announced this was a turning point in their relationship, a phrase diplomats donned to use lightly. Xi even invited Carney for a state visit to China. Carney accepted. Picture this. Trump cancels talks with Canada over a TV ad, and just a week later, China rolls out the red carpet for the Canadian Prime Minister. This is a real problem for Trump because here are the math. China is Canada's second largest trading partner with $30 billion in Canadian exports. It's a $17 trillion economy hungry for everything Canada produces: energy, lumber, minerals, agriculture. And both Canada and China are hurt by Trump's tariffs, so they have a shared interest and a shared enemy. Carney told reporters, "Distance is not the way to solve problems. It's not how we serve our people." Translation: Canada is done waiting for Trump to be reasonable. They're making new friends. And there's more. Remember those 100% tariffs Canada put on Chinese electric vehicles in 2024, just to follow the U.S.? Reports say Carney may drop those tariffs soon, opening the door to affordable Chinese EVs for Canadian buyers. In exchange, China would lift tariffs on Canadian farm products, giving farmers a much-needed break. Even Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford, Trump's supposed ally, said, "The enemy of our enemy is our friend." He doesn't see Americans as the enemy, but right now, Trump is acting like one. If you've been following, tell me in the comments. Is Carney making a smart move or taking a big risk? Fast forward to today, December 5th, at the Kennedy Center. 3 leaders will stand together for the FIFA World Cup 2026 draw: Trump, Carney, and Mexico's Claudia Sheinbaum. On paper, these countries are partners and allies. But in reality, this is one of the most dysfunctional relationships in North American history. Trump hasn't properly met with Carney since October 7th, when he made another joke about Canada being the 51st state. Since then, they've barely spoken. They shared a brief dinner in South Korea, smiled for cameras, and that's it. Now they have to share a stage for 2 hours. The Prime Minister's office says Carney and Trump will have a quick meeting during the event, but no White House visit, no trade talks, just forced coexistence because FIFA demands it. Carney has been handling Trump masterfully by ignoring him. When asked last week when he last spoke with Trump, Carney replied, "Who cares?" 2 words, no explanation. Translation: He's not desperate. He has other options, and those options are paying off. While Trump yells and threatens, Carney has quietly built new partnerships. The EU's SAFE initiative, $170 billion in defense loans, with Canada the first non-European country to join. The UK trade surge, exports up 63% in 6 months, making Britain Canada's second-largest export partner. The Australia radar deal, $4.2 billion for Arctic technology. And China, the world's second-largest economy, is now offering a handshake. This is smart diversification. Trump will be standing next to 2 leaders who have been making deals without him. Claudia Sheinbaum visited Carney in Mexico City in September. They talked energy, security, and stronger Mexico-Canada ties. The 2026 World Cup was supposed to show North American unity. Instead, it happens amid trade wars, tariffs, and diplomatic chaos. Carney isn't backing down. Asked about restarting trade talks, he said clearly, "We're ready when the U.S. is ready." Translation: we're not begging, the ball is in their court. But there's a ticking clock. The USMCA trade deal, which replaced NAFTA, is up for review in 2026. Trump said this week America will either let it expire or negotiate a new deal on his terms, meaning weaker positions for Canada and Mexico. The problem? Every time Trump threatens, Carney finds new partners. Every time America closes a door, Canada opens 3 windows. This strategy isn't talk. It's working. Non-US exports are growing, and partnerships in Europe and Asia are getting stronger. Washington doesn't get it. Canada doesn't rely on the US like it used to. Not with $170 billion in EU loans, China talks underway, and Commonwealth countries ready to do business. If you see this shift in power, hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to understand why Canada isn't backing down. Now, some of you might ask, isn't getting closer to China risky? Isn't that what Trump warns about? Let's be clear. Trump supporters have a point. China has serious human rights issues, spying concerns, and national security risks. But here's the catch. Trump isn't offering Canada a better alternative. Just tariffs, threats, public humiliation, and the tired 51st state joke. And remember, Canada's 100% tariff on Chinese EVs was to please the US. But how did Trump repay that loyalty? With 25% tariffs on Canadian goods, 50% on steel and aluminum, and an extra 10% penalty for a TV ad. Translation: loyalty to Trump gets you nothing but more demands. So yes, Carney shouldn't fully trust China, but he also shouldn't trust Trump. Unlike Trump, China is offering real deals, real trade, real market access. Carney isn't rushing in blindly. He called the meeting a turning point, not the finish line. He accepted the state visit, but said it would happen at the right time, with conditions. He's looking at EV tariff cuts, but only with real concessions on labor, supply chains, and transparency. This is smart, strategic planning, not naive trust. And here is the irony Trump supporters miss. Canada's move toward China is because of Trump's tariffs. His actions pushed Canada into Beijing's arms. If Trump had kept normal trade relations, Carney wouldn't have met Xi Jinping. Trump's aggression is driving allies toward rivals. This isn't Canada's weakness, it's America's failure. To wrap up, today, December 5th, 3 leaders stand together at the Kennedy Center. But not as partners. They stand as rivals, each going their own way. Trump thinks he can bully Canada. History says otherwise. Canada has faced pressure before. Trudeau stood up to Nixon, Morneau negotiated as an equal, and now Carney is proving Canada has choices Trump never imagined. This China pivot isn't about abandoning Western values. It's about survival in a world where America's word doesn't always count. Carney isn't picking China over America. He's choosing Canada's independence. That's the difference between desperation and strength. And today, Trump will realize something uncomfortable. The man he tried to isolate is thriving. The country he pressured is diversifying. The partner he took for granted is moving on. This is Canada in 2025. Not begging, not waiting, but leading. If you get this, if you believe in Canada's future as a strong, independent player, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. This story is just beginning. Thanks for watching.